Hi everybody, you are on the blog gestiondeprojet.com. So today we are in the wonderful island of Crete. This is a Greek island. So as you can see, it's very sunny today. And we are at a conference, and I met Nadezhda. And Nadezhda will speak us about a very wonderful social project called Bread Houses Network. The Bread Houses Network. So, hello Nadezhda.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Nadezhda. It means hope, but in Bulgarian. I'm not from America. I just lived there for the past 10 years. And I'm just finishing my PhD in cultural anthropology at Princeton University. And Princeton is in a town, Princeton, close to New York. So I live in the two cities. And soon I will live in Bulgaria.
And for what organization do you work for now?
I work for my own organization. It's called the Bread Houses Network. So a network of bread houses is something I will elaborate more in a bit, but I'm just finishing the PhD on this topic. So my career is both academic and professional. So it's good that I can analyze what I'm doing from the perspective of anthropology, sociology, economics.
Okay. And can you explain the scope of this social project?
The scope is to organize community cultural centers that are called bread houses. The idea is that, among other art forms, what you can have in the center of such a bread house is bread making. And bread making is a very interesting artistic activity because it can inspire and unify all kinds of people, because it doesn't require particular talents. And when you treat it as an art, it's kind of like Play-Doh or plastilin or clay, but you can bake it, you eat it, you share it together. So it evolved as this hope and dream I had of how we can unite as many people as possible, across age, across ethnic background, across language, profession, education, disability, physical, mental. And out of that social project then also came up the second part of the project, which is the social enterprise. The bread houses are conceptualized also as social enterprises that will operate as businesses, bakeries that would employ people with disabilities, and so the business aspect would finance the social aspect.
Wow, wonderful. How long have you been starting this project?
So I started the project 3 years ago in 2009, but in 2005 I started a bigger organization called the International Council for Cultural Centers, which is much bigger in the sense that it unifies 56 countries. At that time I worked for UNESCO. So at the UN level I connected countries that had this type of community spaces, like Maison de la Culture in France,
yes, exactly.
kind of like this. But then I added my own ingredient to the mixture, to the dough, and the bread houses evolved. I tested the first one in my own grandmother's house. It was an old house that nobody used. My great-grandmother, she had just passed away, so I wanted to test, and I just told to the community, well, let's create a community center ourselves. And when I said it's going to be around bread making, everyone was so excited that I realized it's a good idea. So that's how you test the idea with people. And then things started rolling and growing, and I had volunteers who built the oven completely for free. We fixed the roof for free. We painted the walls ourselves, but more and more people were joining, and I didn't know anyone in that town. So it was complete strangers, but they were so inspired that it was something so simple, but something that reminded them of childhood, of the old traditions, of something so basic but beautiful, like making your bread with others and eating together with strangers. So that's how the first bread house proved to be a really good idea. And then I started multiplying it in other countries.
Yes, I'm sure. It's such a good idea.
It's simple. I think that's the...
But what kind of resources did you need at the beginning and then after?
Yes, well...
I mean human resources, material resources, and of course, how did you finance this project?
Yes, a few factors came in my life, and they were very well coordinated. I didn't have to be paid to do this because I already had my university fellowship. So I had my PhD fellowship and regular monthly wage. So at the beginning, I guess with many social or in general a good idea. You have to work for a while without pay. Somehow you have to work something else until you get to the stage of it being financed. So I had my fellowship, and then what really happened is that I tested the idea. I saw it was good. But then what helped me was my international background, because I already had traveled to more than 70 countries actually. I mean, there are so many of them, but it just happened through my academic career that I could tell it's universal. So sometimes when an idea is really good, it really works universally almost, across culture, because bread is everywhere.
Yeah.
It can be made from different things, corn, potato, rice even, in Asia. But I saw it's universal, so then I started testing it. That was the resource. I used my own fellowship, not to buy clothes and other things, but I was traveling to research more and more about bread. So I used the fellowship to travel when I had breaks in the summer, in the winter. And I was organizing for free activities wherever I traveled, or even when I would go to a conference for academic reasons to present a paper. I would take 2-3 days before or after to look for a community center or a bakery and offer to them, would you like to try a very interesting community method to bring different people, to get them united? And everybody always said yes. So in only 2 years, the program as a method, it spread to 12 countries with different communities wanting to do it. So the good thing about it, as well as a resource, is that it doesn't take a lot of money to organize a collective bread making event. It takes a table, flour and water, and hopefully a wood-fired oven. And many times I inspired people to build a wood-fired oven, because then you have the coziness and the beauty of the fire. You only put candles. So when I think about it, it took very little material resources at the beginning. It was just the idea. I guess my personal charisma, that's what people say, that in many ways it just really is also because of me. That was my obstacle, and I know you're probably going to ask me about obstacles, that is very personal sometimes, and people love it, but they don't feel strong enough to just do it themselves, because it doesn't come from their heart, it came from my heart. But it's inspiring people, and they're more and more willing to take it up. And finally, human resources, for sure. It took people, but it took time, because I had many people who were inspired around me, like 20, 30, 40 people a night per event. But then I started sifting them, and over the first year and a half I saw that I had 4 people who really I could trust and rely on in the first bread house. And then in each country where the program really worked, I had 1 good contact person that really was the engine behind it. But since all of them are volunteer-run projects for now, they're not very sustainable. I saw this happen in some of the countries. When it does not make its own money, it's not sustainable. So this is why we're at this next stage of thinking about a social enterprise.
Okay. And what is the next step now?
Well, the social enterprise, first of all, I'm thankful that I did receive a grant from an American foundation to develop the project for 2 years. So I'll be able to organize this type of community centers in 5 cities in Bulgaria. So I'll go back in Bulgaria in January, have 2 years to do this, to test the model more and more, improve the methods, but also the recipes, and try to organize the local community centers so that they're ready to fundraise enough for them all to become social enterprises. And the way I imagine it is that they will all technically be bakeries, but they will be having very special competitive advantages compared to other businesses, because the fact that they will have these community bread making events would secure them clients. And also we will have breads from different countries that each bakery is going to sell, because I have recipes already from other countries I collected. So we will offer breads from each country where we have a program. So we have a program in South Africa at an orphanage and an old people's home. We will make South African bread. And each bread we sell, we will tell them that part of the sales will go to finance the social project in the other country. So you're fundraising through the sale. And there will be many other elements that will hopefully secure more and more people to come to the social enterprise.
Are you going to work with organic flavor?
Yeah, flour, yes, for sure. Because one of the main scopes of our organization is to preserve the old traditions, the old recipes of sourdough, not commercial yeast, the old kinds of wheat. So I even have an idea. I have a lot of land inherited from my family to plant it with old varieties from different countries. And this will happen probably in a few years because it takes long. But with Vandana Shiva, who is in India, she's a famous ecologist in the world. She has been inspired by the bread house because she already grows these varieties. She has been saving them for years through a network called Slow Food. We're all members of it, we too. We were recognized as one of the best projects in 2010 at the global meeting in Italy. So she already said, we are saving the seeds, we'll try to do a bread house, to make flour from them and to make bread with people and to integrate disabilities.
And did you face in the past with some obstacles or hard challenges?
Yes, for sure. I think it's probably the case with most visionaries or leaders of a project that for a long time at the beginning it's their idea. So people feel connected and they're inspired, but only to a certain extent, and they don't feel even the right to take your idea and develop it. Even though I tell them I want them to join, I want them to take equal part with me, to do it in their own city. I'll give them the tools, I'll help them, they can be members of the network, but they should do it themselves. It's hard because somehow, because it's a new idea and it's mine, I have hard time to get free from it and to delegate it. And it took me, now it's the third year, and only now it's happening. Only now I see 3 places where it really is taking off on its own in Bulgaria and in a few other countries. I hope the Italian one will get stronger. I'll be working on this now. 2 in the United States are evolving. The South African needs more help. We have a few other here and there that were seeds, but it just takes really time for the idea to become independent from yourself, and only then it's sustainable. Only when it's really independent from your own personal charisma and passion. But you do need the passion and the love at the beginning to inspire people, and that's really the key ingredient. It's as to any good food, cooks know. If you cook with all the right ingredients, for example, you have all the good ingredients, you have the money, you have everything, it's not going to work if you don't have the love. But even if you don't have anything, you could start with enthusiasm, and then it's contagious. So you just need patience.
Your enthusiasm is communicative, I think. So, and now, can you tell us what is your main satisfaction?
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. My main satisfaction really is the joy you see in people when you do it with people. And again, I guess it's the same for any project or business. When you know you're offering something that really adds something to people's lives, and in this case I see it adds so much to them because it's a very simple element we use, but they recollect so much, or they come up with ideas of what they want to do with their life. Sometimes I've had people out of bread making realize they want to be massage therapists because they just realized it develops their hands. We had all kinds of experiences of people changing their careers or their paths to life, their approach to life, out of such a simple thing. So the joy that people have out of it, for sure. But then another thing is that it's very easily spreading globally. I've been receiving emails from people all over the world. For example, they want to be what we call crumb-ambassador. It's from the word ambassador, but we add the word for crumbs from the bread. That's crumb-ambassador. And these are people who like to travel and whom we give the title as crumb-ambassador so that when they travel around the world, they make bread with people. They make the local breads, they talk to the people, they interview them through this means, and they give them the joy to understand that they can use this method to have stronger communities. So they bring the old, the poor, the homeless, and we've already had 2 crumb-ambassadors. Now I just got an email from one from Peru, we have another one from Spain, a potential one from France. We had a Bulgarian that just, so to say, graduated, and now she's studying in Harvard. So I'm inspired that somehow it spreads globally. I've even had funny experiences when I go to another country far away and someone meets me and they say, oh, I've heard about you. It's not that I'm happy about some sort of a pride that I got out of it, but the fact that a simple idea like this, in our day and age with the internet and all the connections we have, can really spread. So I really just hope for many good social projects that they can just spread like this easily.
Oh, it's a wonderful experience, I think.
Yeah.
Can you give some advice to a new project manager who wants to launch such a project or another project? But what can you advise for a new project manager?
The first thing I really
especially for a social project like yours.
Yes. For any social project, it's really important for the person to first ask themselves, dig down in their heart, why they want to do it. Because it's very important to realize our motivation. There's many reasons why we do things, and sometimes the pure reason could be mere craving for pride or for recognition, which shouldn't be the case. If this is the reason why we do a social project, to supposedly help people, it will never work, because if it's only for some sort of a personal joy, it wouldn't work. In my case, when I started with this, I saw it gave people joy, and I wasn't even secure in myself because I didn't even know how to make bread well. I had never made bread until I was 25, 28, yeah. So, but if you know it gives you joy, and if you know you love it, and there's potential in it, but you're sure that you're not doing it just from vanity, then it's a good balance. You know, you're gonna put love into it, but you will not get too much pride out of it, because pride can just kill you. You know, and people will feel it, and then they're not gonna join you. You're not gonna be a good leader. You can only be a good leader if they see that you just very simply and humbly love what you do, but you don't know everything about what you do. You're also willing to experiment, to learn from mistakes, to fall, to get up. There's many times when I realize, oh, this method is not good, I have to change this. You always have to change. So that's the other key thing for the person to remember. And clearly patience. I mean, there's just no way for us to want that something would just bloom like this from a few months. Or I thought this at the beginning, but I didn't give up because I loved it so much. So people should always start already knowing that it would take some time.
So thank you very much, Nadezhda.
Thank you too.
So don't hesitate to visit the website of the project. You can see the URL just here. So and thank you to have shown this video until the end. So you can let your comment, of course, as usual on the blog. So thank you very much. Bye bye.